Okay, for vegetation we have right here burning bush. Those have just recently in the last year really taken off. I have several hydrangeas that are arranged, well, sorry about the bright light, hydrangeas. Those things are really growing a lot. They're a little droopy when they get covered with flowers. Most of the time they're standing right upwards. We have a little flower bed here with different iris and such. Arborvitaes. When we moved here back in 2014, they were all this high. That little runt right there actually used to be at the one of the far end ones, and we moved him up here because he was about to die, and he's really taken off. He's only been here for about, I'd say, maybe 2 years, and he was smaller than some of those. Not that little guy there. We're just hoping he comes back, but he was smaller than those over there, and he's already turned to this. Yeah, these have only been there a few years. Due to the shade that this big tree causes here, these guys don't grow so fast. So hopefully they'll pick up someday. Once in a while, they can't go too high or they'll run into the tree. I talked about the grass when I was talking about the water over there. There's some grass. Sorry, I don't know all the names. I'm not really good at plants. I don't even remember what this guy's called, but he's has some beautiful flowers at certain times of the year. Okay, we'll just circle around this way. Have a few things that we were just getting established so that we could transplant them somewhere else and sort of see how they looked. So there's several different iris and stuff right here. I don't know what they are. Sorry. Okay, have a whole bunch of iris that we've gotten from an aunt in Virginia. She brought up a whole bunch of, just a whole variety in there. They pop up early spring and really look great. Hostas, have several different types of hosta. I can't remember what this vine is called, but it has some really wild looking cool berries that almost look metallic. I can see them starting, but I've seen them for a few weeks or a few months now, about a month now, and I'm not sure when they come on. I just don't remember. Out here, let me start another video. The camera keeps stopping on me, so I'm starting videos. We have a Arctic kiwi, and then we have a whole variety of grapes, a whole bunch of different types of grapes. Unfortunately, I cannot remember because I had left tags out here, and somehow they just disappeared. They were all gone one day. Looks like they're starting to ripen up. I'm so excited. This is the first year of actual production of grape, so I hope to taste one before I go. So a whole bunch of grapes. They're doing great. They don't need much. Just a little bit of watering during the drier time, and then obviously some nutrients because grapes are sort of nutrient hungry. But we give them some good. There's plenty of resources online to talk about how to do grapes, and there's a lot of people in this area that know about grapes. Blackberry, a couple blackberry, thornless blackberries right here, and then we have raspberries over here. They're a little pokey. I think there's only one in here that's a non-thorn for the raspberries. Blackberries, thornless. Blackberries can produce quite a bit of fruit. Those things really are heavy producers. These are more sporadic right around the end of June, early July. Some more grapes. Unfortunately, I have these grapes located too much under the shade, and I have not really had any good success with production on them. They're some of the earliest here. I put them probably our second year here, maybe the second year, early on in our, well, it'd have to be the second year we were here, but that'd be spring of 2015, and we haven't really seen much of anything other than leaf and vines. They take off, but they don't produce because I think they're just too shaded. A couple little bushes I put in about 2 years ago. We're hoping that those would become a nice little hedge to help edge the corner here. This is sort of the corner of the property. It runs along this stretch here. Plus we put a few other ones here, so maybe in the winter when there's less vegetation, these would help sort of fill in and create a sort of natural wall perimeter. Just a lot of wild growth out here. Right here we have a whole bunch of apples. These are all grown from seed, believe it or not, all at the same time. Some have not done so well, some of them done pretty good. I got most of the apple seeds probably from Brandt's Apples. I decided to do an experiment and just plant them. I did start them with the little seedlings and planted them right here, and this is sort of our results. Actually, this one got hit by me moving a water hose. I snapped it in half when it was only about this high, and he's done the best. So maybe that's what these need, is just to be broken, and they'll do better. We have all sorts of unique and awesome trees. I don't know much about plants, so I don't know the names of them all, but this one has a really cool flower. This is where the old barn was that got sort of pummeled. I'll try to do a little cleaning up before we go. Yeah, it's a good foundation. I think might make another future good barn. Huge tree. I think someone called it a bottle tree. I don't know. I don't remember who said that and why. This is sort of overgrown because I have some block down here, but I just sort of I don't try to overly manage this area. I sort of let it have a little bit of a natural feel to it. We do have some mulberry trees mixed in here. There's like a white mulberry, I think, in this region here, and then a black mulberry right here. That's one of our favorites. That's my wife's favorite right there. And we also have a lot of wild raspberry and a wild blackberry mixed in out here. We sort of encouraged it because we like the berries, and you'll find them all over the place. They're pretty easy to find, but they're thorny, so be cautious. But in late June, you can see them right here, usually white. It's not poison ivy. They're a raspberry. They're good to eat. There's only one berry on the property that I'm not too sure about. Well, maybe one or two that I'm not sure about. There are some wild grapes that grow up in the trees. I've tried to eliminate them because they sort of choke out the trees, but every so often they pop up, like that one right there. I see a little bit of wild grape up there. I try to hack their vines. We also have an apple here. I think it's Golden Delicious. These have not produced. These trees back here have not really produced yet. This one should be producing by now, but I think it might be shaded a little much. These pears, we actually have had one pear off of one of the trees, but they're still a little on the young side, and so they're not producing. This is a pear, I think a Bartlett. I think this is something with an Acai pear, and then another Bartlett. And then there's another apple tree right there, a wild apple tree. This is a peach tree, another peach tree. These I've had sort of, they've had peaches, but they're a little hard, so we're trying to figure that out. There's another wild apple back here. There's all sorts of little berries and such mixed in. As for the edge, I've piled up a whole bunch of old debris, wood debris here. I'm just trying to encourage growth in soil structure so that things can grow better back here. Also, we have the cliff located right here. There's a cliff line right here, and so I've been encouraging this English ivy to grow over the cliff and just have a good to help strengthen the soil, because we have a sort of a sandy soil here, and there's clay mixed in here and there, but it's mostly sandy soil. And so I've been trying to encourage the edge of the property to have some strength and some nutrients for the plants and trees so that they get a better root system and really solidify this edge. I think we've had pretty good success. There's been a lot of good growth on this edge, and so I think it'll be good, strong. There's a lot of wood, though, I've thrown in there to help just sort of break down and cause growth of more plants. Also, right here, there is a path that I have to the edge. Just watch your step. There is a few little logs and things, but there is an edge where you can sort of see the creek. The creek is down there, stretching this stretch. I can maybe do a video a little later on that. I did one time go down this path. I even have some climbing rope that's still attached to the tree that I made a rope ladder down there. However, I would not suggest ever doing that. I was a little crazy, but it's a beautiful spot. Sometimes you can sit out here and watch people go up and down the river. I think that's, it escapes me. Can't remember what that tree is. Has some pretty pink foliage flowers in the spring. That's a dogwood over there. That's the one of the 3 pairs there, and there. And we also have another next to this big tree. I think this is a black locust or honey locust. I think a black locust tree here. This is literally only about 4 years of growth here. This black locust. He hasn't been there very long. Maybe 3 years. I'm leaning towards 4. I have an apple tree that I was using the black locust sort of protect the apple tree, but now the black locust is really taken off. So it might be something you want to chop down. They're not high value trees, in my opinion. They help get things established and create some protection for the smaller trees, the valuable fruit trees and such. But once they reach a certain point, they start becoming a problem with just being too big and shading out the other trees. This is I think a maple. I think we have 3 maples. We just love how they look, and visually, especially in the winter, we picked some different colored ones so that they have different leaves and such. We were gonna sort of top them so they don't get too tall and too big, but you're free to do whatever you'd like to do. Right here, the reason I don't mow it is I got a lot of strawberries growing in here. This is filled with strawberry. It's a big strawberry bed that I had, and I had a vegetable bed here for a while. I just took those down this spring. Another maple, sassafras. There's some good berries in there. It's like, I think, a blackberry, some really good blackberries under there. But these trees are just taking off here. These weren't even here a couple of years ago. They're just massive now. A lot of sassafras. I like sassafras. You can make tea stuff. Just a lot of vegetation. Another black locust that wasn't here when we moved, but it's taken off. But it helps create a good edge. I think it helps encourage little plants. We have a whole bunch of I'm forgetting. It's a berry bush. I have found, though, be a little cautious when you're trimming or working around it, because you can break it, and it gets sad when it's broken. But a whole bunch of those are actually considered pretty. They've won awards. This type of bush has won awards supposedly in this region. They're a few years old. They're probably about the same year as I think I got them. No, sorry. They're about 3 years old. Another hydrangea. Here's another one that we thought had died. It's coming back. My favorite, I think this is silver maple. It's a maple. One of my favorites. I love it. We have our tire swing. We have a buckeye back here. Really good for if you like to collect buckeye seeds. And then the property just goes off in that way. It's got all sorts of different types of plants and such. I used to clear a path down there a ways. And you can make it all the way to the bridge if you're willing to go with a machete. But it's a bit of a walk too, because there's a lot out there. I've been encouraging growth on the edge with taking our old pieces of wood and grass clippings and stuff, and trying to build up the soil quality on the edge, and encourage this English ivy to grow along this edge, just to help create a stronger edge. Here's, I think, the grandfather tree here. I think he might be a black locust, but I don't really know what he is. But he's a beautiful tree. I just love that tree. He is huge, though, massive. I don't know if you can get any. Well, I guess you can always walk up and check it. He is getting old. He'll probably go away someday, but it's a beautiful tree. So I'm sure there's more to show, but I guess we got the other hydrangeas up here. There are different. These hydrangeas, they get a little droopy when they have the flower coverage. It's just too heavy for them to hold up. I've heard of people weaving them and making them into some like little stalks that weave up to help hold them. We have some just random bushes. Here's another type of hydrangea. This is my favorite. It's just such a beautiful color. And some more bushes. A creeping ground cover. We have a lot of lavender. Helps discourage mosquitoes. Some more hydrangea. A few other things mixed in there, but mostly lavender, ground cover, and such. I think that's it for now.